Hey everyone, it's Brandy, and you're watching Abstract Crafter. Today I have a post review. I got this painting of quite a while ago. I was going to say a very long time ago. It feels like a very long time ago in YouTube time, but it wasn't that bad. So I was sent this painting for review, free for review, quite a while ago, a couple months ago. I think this was the first one I got, and if you don't remember, it's the swans, the heart swans, the love swans, whatever you want to call them. So, I finally got it done. I was kind of like starting to feel the burnout on diamond painting, and I was like, ugh, I need to just go back and do these ones that I had got sent for review. And I was going to do the New Frog one first. New Frog? Yeah. But then I was like, I should probably do the ones that are a little bit older. And I started looking, I'm like, I should probably work backwards and start working, maybe not the very oldest one I have, but kind of start doing the older ones and working my way to some newer ones. Maybe that will help. Because I sometimes get to a point where I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know which one I want to do. That's why I can't have more than the 20 some I have. That was too much pressure. So if I had any more than that, I don't know what kind of system I would use, I swear. So this again was sent to me from the company called Knam on Amazon, as I'm sure the title suggested. I did not pick this one out, but I was still okay with it when it came. So this has been seen a lot in the crystal form, where it's just the swans done as in crystals as a partial. I think that would be cute too, but I love this one. I really do. I think it turned out gorgeous, and I have never seen, and my lights are probably not going to do it justice, I have not seen one that sparkles so freaking much as this one. I mean, look at that intense sparkle. Even with my lights, my very bright lights. But this would be, I'd be walking by it and I would just catch that sparkle out of the corner of my eye. And that's how you know you got a good painting and some good beads. So, especially, I've noticed that the darker ones tend to sparkle a little bit more, as you can see going through. It's not very, even. And that's just an observation I noticed, because I think the light, it just works with the dark ones a little bit more. So now when I go this way, you can see the lighter ones sparkle a little bit more. And I just love that glittery look of a completed round diamond painting. So why don't I put up, I can show you this little thumbnail here, but I don't think that that's really going to do it justice. So why don't I insert a picture from the website and do a little side-by-side comparison. So I think it's pretty close to what it was represented to be. Let me grab my little checklist here to run down with you. So this was I think it shows through here, a 60 by 40, and I do believe that it was just a tiny bit off from that. I did go watch my unboxing video before I filmed, but I didn't watch to the point of where I actually measured it. And so we'll just do that really fast. So, make sure that's looking like it's almost 54 by 34. So they must measure the entire canvas. And I've said it before, I don't care one way or the other what way a canvas is measured. I just like to know. Yeah, see, now we're getting 59.5. I just like to know for the sake of framing by 40. So they do measure by the entire canvas and not just the pasting area. And that's just something that's good to know, I think. That way you can make a decision one way or the other if that's something that's going to be a deterrent for you, or if it doesn't matter to you either. So let's see here. The glue itself is one thing that, of this entire thing, that probably, well, there's two issues I had with this. The glue and the actual symbols themselves. And when we talk, we'll get into that in just a second. But the glue, it was, I don't know when this will go up in relation, but I'm filming on back to back. But I talked about it when I did these two poster views, and how the glue was a little different. You could slide beads around on it, but that it worked really well because of the bigger beads that went with these two. Well, it's very similar type of glue where it doesn't feel like goopy or slimy or anything like that, but the beads slide around super easy in some spots, and then in other spots, if I placed one a little bit off center, and I'll show you a little bit of why it might matter about being a little off center or not in a second. But if I put one maybe just not quite where I wanted to, it would almost like I'd push it into place and it would spring right back. So it grabbed onto the beads and just, it was like no other. But on the other hand, if you didn't particularly push down, you could slide it around a little bit with the drill pen. So there's that. The symbols were very easy to read, but the issue, and I'm trying to find, because there was one area where I really noticed it being very troublesome, probably over here. And I don't know if you can, oh yeah. So if you're looking at that corner, you can see the white peeking out from the symbols because it was so very thick. And trust me, I went through this probably about 3 times trying to push beads to get back into place and be more center. And sometimes they stay and sometimes they're like not having it and they'll pop back. So you have to be incredibly precise because that is something that is seen throughout the entire canvas. Whereas when you're looking up here into these lighter colors, that's not so much a factor because it's a light color anyway and you can't see that ring. But then you get into these darker colors and it's pretty prominent throughout. Obviously that's something you're only really going to notice up close from back, even at this distance, that it's not that noticeable. So that's kind of something that is you got to consider is, do you like feeling like you have to be right on all the time? I mean, I do to a point, but... So the garbage, I did get quite a bit of garbage, but I don't feel like it was so much that was based on the size of the canvas. So, I mean, I can easily move them around, and I did get one of these little clumps like this. Put it on my arm where they're all still attached. I used to cut them apart. I don't even mess with them anymore. They go right into the garbage bin. And the other issue, I guess, that I forgot about until just now. So 3 issues total that I dealt with. Static. The static was unreal in this particular kit. I mean, sorry for the noise. I'm trying to find the other one that fell out. Diamond Dots is known to be incredibly staticky, but this was just as bad, if not worse, as far as the static goes. I had dryer sheets in every one of my cups. Some cups had more than one, and it was an issue at times, especially if I were to grab my tray, and then the static from my hands, they would be like popping out everywhere like little Mexican jumping beans. I think that's what those things are called. So that was extremely annoying to work on. As far as causing stress, we'll get there. So leftovers. I didn't grab all of them because this did have 30 colors in it. But I did grab a few. So it just really depended on the color. So some of them just had a little bit like this, which I feel is a pretty normal amount to have left over. Some of them, like this one, had, well, that's kind of exaggerated because they were laying flat. Some of them had like a ton like that left over. Quite a few. And then there were some that just had a teeny tiny bit of amount left over. So it really just varied as far as, like, this guy had tons left over. Like, I think this was one of the ones that I had the most left over in. And like, especially like this 900, I literally used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 beads. And I have this many left over. So colors like that, there's tons of leftover because you just didn't use that much. The 310, there was a ton left over. I don't have that here because these happen to be the ones that are unique to my collection, and they needed a new bag. So that's why I had these ones handy. And so leftovers really varied, but every single one of them had at least, where did that one go? Was it this one? Had at least that much left over, which is quite a bit. So, and one thing I was kind of thinking about when I was working on this, I was trying to decide, specifically for when I was recording this video, who does this painting, like, who would want this painting? It's not, like, something that you see a lot of people unboxing, or, people talking about. So I was trying to answer that question. Who is this painting for? Who's in the market for a couple of love swans floating on the water, which isn't incredibly clear that that's what's going on. It looks mirrored. I mean, if you didn't know from like the thumbnail, which is upside down, that they were sitting on water, or by their form, I guess. It's not incredibly clear. It's a tiny bit abstract in that way. So that's what I thought about the whole time I was working on this. Like, not constantly, but, you know, it would pop into my head. And the first answer is obviously somebody who loves blue. If you love blue, this has probably got every DMC color blue on on the market. It has some really beautiful lavenders in it that accent, and like, I'll show you, like right here in the actual Swan, you get those lavenders and those mint greens, and you get 5200 and the 3856 that beautifully accent the tops of the swans like that. I think that was such a beautiful highlight, the way it was done. And it does give the illusion that there's feathers. So if you love blue, if you love pictures that have a lot of color blocking, I mean, it actually has a nice mix of color blocking and confetti. So like over here, you get a lot of that confetti, but then up at the top, you get a lot of like straight color block. So you get a nice mix of that. So somebody who likes an even mix of color block and confetti, this is good for. Somebody that likes very monotone pictures. So that's kind of the market that this goes for. Somebody who loves swans. This might be a beautiful anniversary gift, a wedding gift, or something like that, because it's very clear that the swans are making a heart. And I think that's super cute. You know, so there is a market for this. Right now, this is on his website for $14.99, and I will link this in the description box if you'd like to go check it out or see what else he might have. I'll put a link down there for that. Another person that might want this is somebody kind of like me that's a completionist and wants to get all the colors that they can think of to add to their DMC books. Leftover books. And you need blues. You're lacking a lot of blues. I don't know. Sometimes I do buy pictures with that thought in mind. It's not the best way to buy a picture, but sometimes when I just can't decide, that's what I do. I'm like, well, it kind of looks like it has a lot of colors that are new to my collection. I mean, after you've done, God, I think I've completed over 50 or around 50 at this point. So you get a pretty good idea of what DMC colors might be included in a painting. It's a blessing and a curse. So, So the general condition of the beads, I guess I didn't touch on that, was most of them were the really gross ones that I hate with, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to find one to show you off right off the bat. Yes, right there. Focus, camera. Where'd it go? There it is. Stop shaking, Brandy. There it is. Oh, those gross holes. That was the majority of the problem. Was ones like that, or let's see. It was actually kind of a weird one to describe to you, but you know, like there's more where there's just lots of holes and they just creep me out and I don't know why. I can't explain it to you. There was just a lot. But what I was trying to say more than that was like, ew. Ew. Like that one there. Really creeped me out. They were like pinched. Or huge holes like that guy. So, they were like pinched and they looked like little, there we go. Well, I just buried it. But they were like pinched and they are almost shaped like a football. And then they'd have tons of holes in them. You know I obsess over garbage. I don't know why. It's just a thing I do. So overall, I think that the quality of the beads in general was pretty good. That's not a lot of garbage to have with 30 colors and 60 by 40. It's just really not. So, I mean, overall, they were pretty good. The experience working on the canvas was very relaxing. I wouldn't say that it stressed me out or gave me an exceptional amount of joy. Not like it did. Like, these were fun to work on, and I was excited to keep working on them. This one, I was almost, once I got to a certain point, I was just like, oh, can we just be done with this already? And that was honestly how I felt for probably half of it. And that's just due to how monotone it was. That has nothing to do with the picture itself. It could have to do with the size, too. Sometimes I just come across a painting where I just want to be done with it. And that happens to me more often than not, so this isn't like a new issue for me by any means. But so the store, well, since we talked before he sent this to me, he was a very pleasant guy. He was very kind. He thanked me for doing the initial review, or not review, unboxing and first impressions. He actually lowered the price after I did my video, so that was nice. It was originally, this was $19.99, and he lowered it down to $14.99, and it's been at that ever since. I know he was working on getting more pictures in at the time. He had this one and one other that Donnie did a review on her channel. So if I can find that video, I will link that for you as well. So he was a very kind guy. So let's see what we're going to break this down for. So overall look at the finished canvas. I do think that it looks okay, except my eye goes right to all those little white circles. So before I start giving you the scores, when I went back and watched the unboxing, I looked at it with my unboxing checklist so that I could give it an initial score, and I would have at the time given that a 10 out of 10. So we'll just start with that base 10 out of 10 for the unboxing. I'm not going to take a full point off for the finished canvas. I'm just going to take a half a point off because, I mean, like I said, you have to be pretty up close to look at it, and it's not super bothersome, but it is something that might deter someone from buying it, is the fact that those rings can be quite noticeable, and they're maybe a little too white for the darker areas. They make sense over here, but not so much over here. So I think a little variety as far as the color of the rings might have improved the overall finished quality. So I will give that a 2.5 out of 3. The bead quality, I'll give it the full points because I had plenty of leftovers. I'd never even worried for a second that I was going to run out. So full points there. The fun factor, I am only going to give it, I hate to even do it, but I don't know. Let me come back to that one. I'm debating if I want to give it 1 point or 1.5 points. The canvas condition was okay. It was not, I mean, there was no pinches, no buckling, no wrinkles, nothing like that. The glue was a little iffy. So, but it worked. I mean, things are on there. They're adhered. It wasn't, like, problemsome. So, yeah, I can add the full point for that. The symbol clarity was impeccable throughout. Even though the rings are all white, not all of the actual symbols themselves were white. And if, I show you what I'm talking about here. If right here, this was black, it was black on the canvas. If the check mark was white, it was white on the canvas. So those did show up on there. So they were easy to differentiate. They weren't all monotone or anything like that. So the symbol clarity was good. The communication was good. And so when I come back to this fun factor, I think I'll do a half point only because really the only thing that stressed me out was the static. But once I added more dryer sheets, I could control it for a while. It wasn't all bad. I did get a little bored at the end, but that was me, not the canvas. I mean, it's a gorgeous canvas, and I knew that I might hit a wall with it. But even so, it only took me about 5 days to complete this. So I'll go a half a point off. So we took a half point off there and a half a point off there, leaving it at 9 out of 10. And overall score, so 9 out of 10 for the post review. Overall score is still a 9.5 out of 10. So would I recommend this? If I were to have paid $20 for this, would I still be recommending it? And the answer is yes, I still would. Price really doesn't factor into things for me. I tell you guys the price, I give you the price, but overall, it has no effect on the way that a canvas is scored, in my opinion, because I was the one that chose to spend that money, or in this case, I answer the question, would I pay? At the time it was $20 and now it's $15. Would I pay $15 for this and still be happy with it? And the answer is yes. That's my honest answer. I would never lie to you guys for the sake of a painting, for a review, for any monetary gain, because I'm not gaining that much monetarily. And the trust that I have with you is priceless. So that I will always be honest with you, because there will be nothing that will ever compare to that. So I just want you to know that I really do love you guys. So yes, 9.5 out of 10 overall score. I recommend it. Go check out his store if you like swans. You know, obviously the subject matter is going to be based on preference. If you like blue paintings, if you like swans, if you have a need to give a love-inspired painting to somebody as a gift, then, you know, there are many reasons to buy a painting like this. You just, you know, it might not be something that catches your eye immediately. I also do think that this would look great as a partial. I do think it would look great in the crystals. I think all the versions of this would look amazing. So any version that you find, I would recommend. Not just this one from this store, but I will link this one in the description box down below. So, with that, I will let you go. Have an awesome day. Have fun diamond painting. Have fun crafting. Have fun doing whatever it is that makes you happy. I love you, friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!